Hi guys, so I am bringing this video to explain you about how to do the self evaluation for strategic management paper. Now the initiative that we have started by putting tests in place for 25%, 50%, then 75% and then 100% is an initiative to ensure that students are not only equipped with knowledge, because now you already know that our classes are at its best and you have the absolute conceptual clarity. But when it comes to writing the exam, many of the students are facing a challenge despite knowing the answers. It is becoming a challenge sometimes to write the answer correctly. So we over a period of time recognize the need for doing this, and we said instead of writing a long set of test series and other things later which don't have cognizance, we have designed a very beautiful pattern of taking tests at various stages of completion so that you have multiple chance to assess and reassess yourself. That is the main idea behind bringing this initiative. And also this video is going to give you a very clear explanation of how you have to do an evaluation, wherein the point-wise marking system of the ICAI is being emphasized here. In a subject like strategic management, which is for 50 marks, now I would stick to talking about my subject because each of the faculty members are giving you insights about the respective subjects. So I will talk about my subject, but which is almost the same pattern for every subject. Now if you see strategic management essentially, which is overall a 50 marks paper, we are putting enough number of questions to get you understand 25, 50, 75 and then a couple of broad tests to give you a real exam feel. Okay, 2 mock tests towards the end. Now since you are watching this video, I at this point of time suggest you that you do all the 5 tests properly, okay, and later follow the same pattern by using the suggested answers to do a self evaluation. This will only be a guide for you to operate better in future. Now how does ICAI value your answers? With respect to MCQs, I think it's a straight point, nothing needs to be explained there. So going by case scenarios, I think in the test 1 we talked only about a single case scenario with 5 MCQs where you can straight away mark the answers and give the requisite number of marks. I don't think that should be a problem. When it comes to valuing the answers, now the reason why we are talking about not just giving you a suggested answer and leaving it and teaching you this pattern is so that you understand and evaluate, okay, this is where we need to spend some time. Let's do for this particular paper, I am going to do each and every question so that we have a clear understanding of what the valuation pattern would be. The first question, as you know, the descriptive one is talking about what are the limitations to strategic management. Now parallelly when you evaluate, always keep in mind that it is not necessary to match word by word in the answer. It is not practically sensible, nor it is possible in a theory paper to exactly match word by word in a key. So then how is ICAI going to give you marks? There are some highlighted words, the key words, which are no different from what I am making you mark in the class. In the class 100 times I would be shouting, underline this, highlight this, please mark it. Yeah, mark this a couple of stars. These are my common terms, right, that I keep using. So you know, the fact that you should be in a position to recognize that in this particular sentence this is the keyword. We have done that. The same thing is something that we want you to present in the exam. How do we present answers in the exam? Just like what you are seeing here, present it in points, okay. Don't like try to complicate the situation by writing lengthy paragraphs or something like that. Keep it very simple. Present it just like 4 points are there in our book, present it like that, okay. So there needs to be no further tension about anything. Now going by that, first we are talking about, is the statement true? What statement? That strategic management is not a panacea, that is not a final solution for all the corporate problems. Certain limitations are there. No, I have multiple times emphasized with you that any good concept at the end of the day will have some limitations. In this case, for strategic management, we have 4 limitations. So first, what we are doing is, this is probably a 5 marks question. Each question nowadays is about 5 marks. Sometimes there is very rarely an internal split of 3 marks and 2 marks. Okay. So going by that, if you see what the ultimate idea is, first they are giving us, for this confirmation that we write saying yes, what you said, the statement is true, there will always be a little piece of mark awarded for that, a half mark or 1 mark depending on the conclusion. In this case I am giving that a half a mark. Then for rest of the 4 points I am going to give you about 4 marks. So totally for a 5 marks answer, 4.5. Sometimes they will go by giving 5 out of 5. But I wanted always to be conservative at preparation levels. We don't want to exaggerate and say I'll give 5 on 5 for myself. So if you are targeting and hitting all these words, even if you are able to match 75 to 80% here, I think you should end up getting 80% of a 5 marks, so 4 marks, right? So it should be that easy. What are the words? Environment is complex and turbulent. So for every time something is changing, we can't change. So simply you can't write side heading complex and turbulent and leave it, right? So you have to say environment is complex and turbulent, that is a keyword. Then to glorify that, you have to additionally add the fact that it is difficult to understand. Now the reason why we are telling this is not because environment is complex, it is difficult for us to understand. So when you write that second part and the complexity about it, you get the whole marks. So which is to pinpoint how it will shape up the future. You cannot exactly tell that, it is very difficult, and therefore despite doing a strategic management process, this could always be a challenge. To do the entire strategic management process, it is a time consuming aspect. So after writing time consuming, which is the deserving a half mark there, you have to say spend a lot of time. For what? You should not write blanket statements like spend a lot of time for strategic management. No. Spend a lot of time for preparing and communicating strategies. I think you know the words strategy formulation, strategy implementation. If all these things are, coming in one after the other. So it is organization spend a lot of time on that, preparing and communicating. So that is the other half mark that it deserves. To do this exercise, we have to engage some serious number of people, right? The experts involved. So expert strategic planners need to be involved. So write that it is a costly process because you need to engage expert strategic people. They need to be paid well, and that is why it is difficult. One more important point in this case is this is expensive. Actually, the other half mark goes to that also. For only those organizations with limited resources. Some organizations with abundant amount of resources, they should not have this problem at all. Okay. So that is the point. And lastly, it is very difficult to estimate the competitive responses because most of these decisions are taken within the closed doors of management. We may not be able to gaze or understand as to what the outcome could be, the firm's strategies, because you will be very clearly able to tell what you will do. You will never be able to judge and tell what the other fellow will do. So I think you know this answer. So now the reason why I rediscuss it is, anyway we discussed this topic in class. The point right now that I want to emphasize is that this is how the marking pattern is broken. If you have in your answers written these, then accordingly evaluate and give that many number of marks that will, like here, if you see estimate, okay, it's estimating the competitive response. If you say difficult to clearly get competitive response, it's still okay. Competitive response is difficult is important. So it is a costly process. Expert strategic planners need to be involved there. In that sentence you wrote it as planners are to be involved, experts need to be involved. You didn't write exactly the word expert strategic planners. Still okay. Understood? So it is, again I am telling, it is not about exactly matching the word by word. It is all about how much are you able to present with conviction, saying yes, look, I know the subject, I am presenting this. The problem is there only. Many people, despite knowing the subject, they will not be able to do this. So I would want you to, that is why we are doing this so elaborately, so that I would want you to use the same logic for the further tests also. In fact, if you go with the right guidance and if you have followed all the classes properly, you really don't even have to look at the suggested answers. You know where those are and you can directly go to the book and cross check. That ease will be there. No matter which course student you are, the level of clarity that we have provided will help you achieve that. Then the next question is about the role of a CEO. You know that we have a table in the first chapter which explains that his role is to oversee the development, defining the mission and goals of the organization, followed by allocating resources, formulating and implementing strategy, providing leadership. 5 keywords, 5 marks. Either you can write that or you can go with the reasons to go global. Again, the words are neatly highlighted. The first and foremost reason is need to grow. So guys, like that, you see what is given in bold. If you are sometimes not able to find what is there in bold, because sometimes, when our, staff works on these, or sometimes, I'm not saying always it happens, but they provide you with the suggested answers maybe while doing the final, changing or conversion. Sometimes, certain fonts may get changed. What is supposed to be bold might have missed. So I am urging you to catch the essence of this video and not go by saying you highlight and give, we will mark. Understood? So that is not how it should work. That is the reason why we call self-evaluation. You have the textbook with you. You have the suggested answer given with you. Now you should be able to, most likely it will be given in bold or it will be highlighted. If it's not given also, by now you should be in a position to recognize what will get you the marks. So in every point, there will be something that should go to get you those number of marks. Is that right? So that is what we are going to see here. Let us go ahead, guys, and figure out what are the half mark point that you can need to grow will get you half mark. Rapid shrinking of distance and time. Similarly, it is being realized that domestic markets are no longer adequate. Cheaper source of raw material, higher transportation cost. Finding foreign markets open, the rise of services and the economic integration. All these points have made you mark. Collapse in trade barriers. This, in other words, if you write liberalization, you can get marks for that also. Right? It is not essential that you have to mark this. Liberalization also works. Form strategic alliances. Right? These are straight textbook questions, the first 3 that we have seen. Now the fourth question, that is the question that we are going to discuss right now. This has been a past exam question, and questions are sometimes likely to come like this also in the exam. Sir, how do I evaluate questions which come like this? What should I do with them? If you see what you should do with them, let me give you an insight here. These questions, identify the strategic approach that you have to do for Albela Foods and Just Be Food. That is the question. I hope you read the question. Now look at the answer. For writing which approach you took, Albela Foods have taken proactive approach. Just Be Foods have taken a reactive approach. This is the point that you have to first drive and constrain to get your 1 mark. Then, proactive strategy means what? We do the action. Reactions are for developments and fresh market conditions. So, like that, if you are in a proactive zone, you tell what it is. Your reactive zone, we will understand and do what we are supposed to do. So, in other words, you are going to write the most important line. Proactive strategy is a planned strategy, while reactive strategy is nothing but an adaptive reaction to the same. Okay. So, this is what will get you the first set of 3 marks. Then the other 2 marks are in, you have to explain when competitive conditions change. By adapting the strategy you have to do. Sometimes it is not about what the environment says. It is also about what we learn. That entire story. A proactive strategy is better in this case because it helps the entity achieve a competitive advantage. For this conclusion, they are again going to give you that key mark. Understood? So, situations like this where you need not take any tension of it, they are just another question which need subject understanding and nothing more than that. By now, I hope you realize that it is the same, that you need not take any special care, preparation for MCQs, case studies. Don't go by all this. People will tell you 100 things outside. Not necessary to go by any of that. Must simple logic. Study, write well. Simple. Okay. There will be like, how should I do for case-based scenario? I hope by now you've seen case-based scenarios. The content given in case-based scenario and the MCQs, are they anyway connected? Like, it is not English comprehension. No? From there you have to choose the answer and write. You have to apply your mind and then write the correct answer as to what it could be. So, don't ever take that tension. And lastly, they are talking about the 3 issues involved in strategic analysis. This is again a very important point for writing 3 side headings which are about strategy evolves over a period of time, you should strike a balance between external and internal factors, and you should always consider the principle of risk. There is an inherent element of risk involved. From where does the risk come? From all these. Anyway, for all the 3 points, what is the additional thing that you have to write to get marks? One is about saying today's strategy is a result of series of small decision taken over a extended period of time. Now this protracted extended period of time, if you write that line, you get your full 1 mark. So 1.5 mark for that 1 point. So each point is 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. So you get a 4.5 out of 5. That's how we mark it. So again, if you ask me, sir, will they not give 5 out of 5? Probably they will sometimes give, but like I said, be little conservative on that half a mark and always budget it for that much. Okay. So again, for writing the second side reading, you will get a half mark. And here, since you're talking about external and internal factors, words are very important. You have to write the word opportunity, influence and constraints. These are opportunities and threats coming from outside, while within you, whatever you have, that will be the idea of strength and weaknesses. So a right balance between both these, right? So a reasonable balance is the keyword that we are expecting there. You have to get that, and once you get that, you will be able to pick up your marks. And then you should also say there exists constraint that limit the option. If there is a large opponent, automatically because of the presence of a strong large opponent, you will face it. And lastly, in terms of risk, you have to write all these words. What are the risks that can come? Competitive markets, liberalization, globalization, boom, recession, all these are trends which can some way or the other bring risk. In fact, if you want to add up, there is a table below this risk. Internal risk, external risk, short-term risk, long-term risk. That is risk based on their time and source. If you want, you can add that point also, but in this case, I don't think they expected. They just asked you the issues. So as long as you write these 3 points, it is enough. Okay. So guys, that is our little piece of discussion on how to evaluate. The same logic applies across all the 5 tests. Whether we give you marked patterns or not, you should be in a position. The reason why we did a detailed video about this is once you know 4 questions are valued like this, 40 questions also will be valued like this only. So over a period of time, try to do your syllabus, and once that requisite syllabus is done, give a little gap immediately and then try to take the test. Let me finish all the classes, then I will write one test of the other. Don't go by that. What I personally suggest is, if you have watched the video till here thoroughly, then I understand you are a very proactive student who needs the guidance. So take it from me. If somebody has not watched till here or they have skipped it somewhere in between, I would not be saying this to them. But if you have come till here, it shows you are really interested in knowing it. So the main point that we have to understand is, do first and second chapter, then immediately take the test. Then do the next. Right? So that is how you are supposed to work for it. Let me finish all the videos. Let me finish my classes first. Then slowly, as time permits, during revision, I will write test. Probably during revision, if you want to write the test, write it again. But while the classes are going on, when your memories are fresh, I suggest you to do this exercise. Like I said, if you have time and if it permits, if you have only one group, you can spare a little extra time. Do it twice, no problem. But try, even if the questions are same, try to have that conviction in doing and saying that, okay, we are doing this. Got it? So on that note, that is the a simple discussion on how you are supposed to do your own self-evaluation. I hope this will help you in deciding what further course of action you are supposed to take with respect to this. And like I said, please do your classes well. I wish you all the best. I will see you in another video, guys. Thank you.